Wednesday morning. You're tuned into the Smooth Breakfast. Ayokunmi here. It's that time to get into the world of business and take a look at some business stories that have been making the rounds. This is Business Express. It is an interactive session as always. So we're looking forward to you sharing your messages, your thoughts with us this beautiful Wednesday morning. So you can do that by sending those thoughts in on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981 0809 444 0981. That is the way you can join. And you can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. We're going to be talking a lot about power today. Of course, like I said earlier when I came in, do you have light? Yes, that's a question on the lips of every Nigerian or many Nigerians. I think some people have power right now. I don't know. I didn't before I left the house. So here we are. So joining me this morning is Oler Oladele. She is the founder of the Money Wit Club. Good morning to you, Ola. Great to have you in once again.
Good morning, Ayo. Yeah, it's always happy to be here.
It's always great to have you to talk about these issues. And of course, another day, another set of things to talk about. Like I mentioned, power is big on the agenda this morning. And we're going to be talking about the Federal Competitive and Consumer Protection Commission. That's the FCCPC as well. Because on Tuesday, that's yesterday, they ordered the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company, that's the IKEDC, and the Eco Distribution Company, EKEDP, to immediately halt the replacement of Unistar prepaid meters due to their non-compliance with directives from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. That's the NERC. Now, that was disclosed in a statement posted via the Commission's X page. What exactly is the story here? What is the FCCPC trying to achieve by this?
So the FCCPC is basically the regulatory agency that is responsible for defending the rights of Nigerians. So if, for example, you went to a store, you bought something, and the thing did not do what it was supposed to do, you can complain to FCCPC and they will do an investigation and reach out to the store. And most times, the company or whatever would be forced to respond or to fix you up or to compensate whatever the situation is. So now they are stepping in on power, on the challenges that a lot of Lagosians have with IKEDC and EcoDC or EKEDP as
Right.
they're called, right? Basically what they're saying is stop replacing meters right now. The ones that you were supposed to do, you haven't done properly. So go and fix those ones. That's one. And another thing that they also said was that you need to engage with people before classifying them as band A. Now
Mm,
that is the
mm.
one
That is
is
so
a
key.
major issue because you just wake up and realize that you are on band A and the 100K that you were managing is now 200, 300K without any approval and without any necessary increase in power that you get, right? Because I mean, it's one of those things that people are really complaining about. Your power bill just goes up, and you were not complaining before time. So they are basically putting their foot down to say you need to stop. Now, the good thing is that generally companies listen to what they say or adhere to what they say. They sort of have a grip on companies. So we hope that this will be implemented because, I mean, what it means is that if you suddenly appear on band A, you can actually go to FCCPC and say, there's no proof that there was a session with my power company and I have been
Right.
moved to band A. Another thing that they're also highlighting is that you have to there's some regulation around billing unmetered consumers, right? So they have to follow that. You can't just arbitrarily give me a bill because I don't have a meter, right?
Mm.
So it's good. It's that the regulator is doing their job. I would say it's a long time coming. I will also say that the ministry under which EcoDC and IKEDC needs to do more work in terms of ensuring that they do what they're supposed to without us having to go to an external or a third party, right? But I think it's a step in the right direction for us as people.
Most definitely. And I mean, I'm actually glad that the FCCPC is bringing this to the fore, talking about these meters, because I remember on a personal level, sometime last year, I had issues with, with the meter at the house. it kept always doing this thing where it cuts off supply because of its design or something. There were complaints back and forth, back for the. At the end of the day, they had to come and take that meter away for about 2 months. They said in quotes they were going to repair or something like that. So for a while there was no meter and all that. They brought it back eventually, and I mean, in their defense, it actually hasn't done that same thing again up until this point. But I know that a lot of people had those sort of complaints concerning the meters, and they would say, "My meter before was perfectly fine. I never had such an issue. Why is this happening?" So it's a good thing that the FCCPC is coming out to talk about this because if those meters are not up to scratch, then they definitely should not be installing them for consumers because the problems you will have along the line, very, very
All right.
frustrating at the
Yes,
end of the
very
day.
frustrating. Very frustrating. I totally agree. I totally agree.
Right. Now, still sticking with electricity matters because that is what is on the news this morning. Let's talk about the national grid collapse. Different sources give you different interpretation number of times. Some will say 8, some say 9, some say 10, depending on where you're sitting or where it is that you're standing. But whatever it is, number is, there was another grid collapse yesterday. I mean, all of us can actually agree on that one. Happened sometime in the afternoon yesterday, about 2:35 p.m. or thereabouts, throwing the nation into another round of blackouts. I mean, I was driving into work this morning and everywhere was just black. And I just said to myself, man, this is not good. I know in October there were about 2 or 3 different times when the grid collapsed. Ridiculous by any stretch of the imagination. So we are here once again. And Ola, I mean, we've analyzed the impact of this grid collapse over and over. At this point, we probably sound like broken records, really. But can you just share some tips on how the average Nigerian out there can mitigate this risk in their lives and their businesses as well? I mean, spare thoughts for those, for example, who are into frozen food businesses right
Yes.
now.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, one of the things, especially in business and generally in life, like when there's a challenge, right, you can't wish it away. The fact is,
Mm,
the number of times that the grid is collapsing is telling us that there's actually something wrong. There's something big that is wrong that needs to be fixed and needs to be like, the way maybe you need to shut it down, give it a week, fix the thing. Do you get? It's almost like we are patching, right? Now, if you come with that mindset and you have a business that, number one, everybody needs power generally, and then you have a business that particularly needs power to thrive, right? I would say
mhm,
that maybe you should consider investing in some kind of solar energy, alternative energy thing. Now, a lot of times people say, oh, it's high cost to enter, like because it's expensive at the start. But especially if you're running a business, when you run the numbers, right, it might
mm,
actually be a savings. And this is one place where I would say, as a business person, perhaps you should borrow if you don't have cash. Because in the long run, imagine if you are storing frozen chicken, you just got a fresh batch 2 days ago, and then yesterday, no power, today, no power. You run gen while you're in the shop. By the time you leave, the gen has to be off, and there's nothing you can
right.
do about it. By the third day, the chicken has changed color. Nobody wants to buy. There are two facts. There's the loss of that one, and there's the fact that somebody that just walked in and decided to buy chicken will say, I don't go to that place anymore because their chicken is not fresh. So
Exactly. And that spreads.
that's what spreads, right? So you have to be careful. You also have to take that into consideration in that short-term decision that you're making. Generators compared to and the fuel cost that comes with it is a thing. It's massive right now. So I think the first thing is to invest in backup power solutions, all these alternative energy solutions. And there are different types. There's like the whole solar panel and all, and there's like maybe a small power bank that can face your freezer only,
Mm,
smaller. There are lots of these solutions that if you actually go online right now in Nigeria, you would find people providing them, right? And that's one. Another thing also is, I mean, this doesn't work at this time because there's no pattern to the madness.
no
Because if
method
there
at
was
all.
like a peak period where there'll be lights And for example, you had stuff to do it within that period. That's for people that are not necessarily selling chicken and stuff, right? Charge all the things that need to be charged and know that you are sorted for 24 hours, right? But
Right.
there's no method to that madness right now. But generally, I would say alternative solutions is the way, and we need to think longer than the initial cost and find a way, run the numbers. It will most likely be beneficial to you.
In the long run, because it doesn't seem as if there's any light at the end of this tunnel. No pun intended there at all. This is something that's probably going to keep on happening over and over. I mean, I know a couple of people who have actually gone off the grid, or who are like combining going off the grid and then being on, just to keep themselves sane, because like you said, the cost of this, or even imagine a family or someone who lives alone or who has a family and all that, you just cook different soups and stews to store in the freezer, and then boom, no power.
Yes, and
That
I've
person,
heard that a lot. Like,
so
frustrating. It's the day that you go and buy chicken, that's the day that power will go off. Then you now be managing. Then you now carry your whole chicken and throw it away because, I mean, just cut thyself getting sick. You understand? And it's really
exactly.
especially in this time where you're even trying to bulk buy to make it cheaper, because also high. So there's so many things hitting on us as individuals in Nigeria.
A true story there. All right, we need to call it a wrap this morning on the show. Thank you so much, Ola, for joining me. As always, it was a fun time.
Bye.
All right, do take care. Have a great Wednesday. And thank you for being a part of Business Express this beautiful morning. Keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life station. There's more great music coming your way as we get along to 7:30, freshly pressed at that time, taking a look at the papers.